Hey guys, it's Jalen. Welcome back. I'm here today to share with you my monthly update for my Palette Love series. This is a series that I started sometime last year, kind of as an extension of Jessica Lee's 365 Days of Eyeshadows, to work on just to play around with my palette collection, because I have so many that I really haven't played around very much with at all. Some of them are untouched. And even though I love doing Pan That Palette, I really also want to not ignore the rest of my palette collection. So that's what this project is all about, is using my eyeshadow palette collection. And there was a point in time where I was working on my eyeshadow singles, but right now I don't have any room to add singles into a palette. Here's my magnetic palette that I work on, and it's full. So I don't have any room to add shadows to this, but I think maybe after this year's Pan That Palette, which is my Kat Von D Shade Line Eye Contour Quad and Rust, I've pretty much frankened all of those shadows. Once I'm done with that palette and I remove all those franken shades, I should have room to add singles back in. So maybe we can do that beginning of next year, beginning of 2023. But right now what I'm doing is I'm randomly rolling in 4 to 5 palettes depending on the size, and then I get to pick one palette to roll in myself. And sometimes I kind of wait to see what I've got picked randomly, so I don't pick something that's kind of the same color family or the same size, etc. So anyway, let me share with you the palettes that I was working on last month. Now, these first 4 were randomly chosen for me. I have the Festival palette by Juvia's Place, the Lorac Unzipped Desert Sunset palette, the Lethal Cosmetics Night Flower palette. Oh, this was a beauty. And the Lorac Pro palette, the original. So let me share with you my thoughts on these. I actually liked all of them very much. There was a couple that surprised me, actually. This one was one of them in the sense that, I know that I like the matte formula in Lorac palettes. To be honest, I did not use the shimmers because I have so many other shimmers that I'm working on in other projects. I may have used Deep Purple, but that's it. But this is a really lovely palette. The mattes in here are really, really nice, and I did enjoy it. I enjoyed playing around with this palette. This would probably be an easy one at some point to pan, because I find panning these Lorac palettes not too challenging. But yeah, enjoyed it. It's not going anywhere. The next, I'm going to go in the order that they were chosen for me. The next one is the Festival palette by Juvia's Place. This one was scary to me at first, but let me tell you, I really enjoyed this palette. I think if you're expecting these mattes to be the same color on your eye, which is probably what most people would expect, they're not. I found these to be more pink leaning than this bright orange or bright red. They very much leaned pink when I blended them out on my eye. I loved it. I'm actually wearing, I have this shade and this shade, which are, okay, I'm not going to even try to pronounce them because I will butcher the pronunciation, so I'm not even going to try. But yeah, I have these 2 in my eye look today. And yeah, it's so pretty. So pretty. I think the first look I did, I used this shade, the orange, and the red. And then, of course, I used the turquoise, which ABBA is something that I'm working on in my Pan in Every palette. I really loved this. I really did. But again, I feel like it did lean very pink, and I'm going to try to buff some of these shadows out so you can see. Yeah, you see that red is very pink leaning. But yeah, I really did enjoy it. I'm surprised because it's not a palette that I would have picked normally. That palette came as an oopsie to me from Ulta. I did not pick it. I did not purchase it on my own. I would not have ever purchased it personally, but I enjoyed using it. The next palette that I had randomly chosen for me was by Lorac again. It's the Unzipped Desert Sunset palette. And this is another one where I really enjoyed the mattes in here. And I actually used some of the satins in my crease as well. Like this one here I used in my crease. And I enjoyed it. You can see I mixed this brown in with another shade. So it's got a little bit of that pink there. So I'll take that off. But yeah, this was really pretty. I mean, I really did enjoy it. It's not like a super intense in terms of the shimmers, but I still liked it. I love the color story. Yeah, it's still really pretty, and the mattes performed beautifully. So yeah, it's not going anywhere. And the last palette that was randomly chosen for me was by Lethal Cosmetics, and this is the Night Flower palette. This is stunning. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm obsessed with this. Obsessed. I love this palette so much. It's beautiful. The mattes were beautiful. I didn't use this gray, like lilac-y gray shade, but I think I used all the other mattes. I used all the shimmers except for this one here. I just didn't find a need for it. I freaking loved it. I combined like the blues with the purple one day. I think I actually filmed with this look, and I don't think I filmed with the purple look, but oh my God, I loved it. I loved it so much. And I would absolutely purchase another of these palettes or more of their shadows because I loved it. Loved. Now the palette that I chose to work on in this project, I don't think I shared this at the beginning. The palette that I chose, which is now a surprise to you, is this one. This is by Huda Beauty. It's the Mercury Retrograde palette. I totally forgot to mention at the beginning. Anyway, this is gorgeous. Oh my gosh. This shade down here is they're stunning. I love this palette so much. Again, it's the two looks that I wore with this palette I was obsessed with. I love it. The mattes blended up beautifully. The shimmers were gorgeous. This shade is freaking amazing. I mean, I loved it. I didn't use every shadow in here, I should say, but I did use a lot of the mattes. I didn't use Haze, which is this turquoise, but I think I used most of the other mattes. Like I don't think I used Utopia, but I think I used every other matte in here. Oh my gosh, I loved it. It's lovely. Not going anywhere. Okay, so now did I show you the swatches? Oh my God, that shade. Okay, now's the time where we get to pick new palettes to roll into this project. So let me pull out my iPad. I have everything in Wheel of Names. There are still a lot of palettes for me to work through. Because I've added so much more this year. I still have 196 palettes to play with in this project. Let me go to full screen and we will see what the first 4 are, and then I may end up pulling a 5th depending on the size of the palette. MAC Feast Your Eyes. Okay, this was I just rolled this out of my Pan in Every Palette project because I hated one of the shade that that got pulled randomly for me, but I want to play with the other shades, so this is perfect. Okay, yay. Feast Your Eyes. Let's see what's next. Milani Soft and Sultry. Okay, yay. Oh, wow. Okay. This is one of my oldest eyeshadow palettes. It's a stack by Milk Cosmetics. It's the Lovesick stack. It's a stack of, I think, 3 or 4 eyeshadows. Okay. So I'll definitely pull in an extra because that's only got 3 or 4 eyeshadows in it. Oh, the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. Okay. It's a good time to do that. Fall. And I think this is, 5? Another Natasha Denona Mini Zendo palette. Oh, I'm tempted to pull another one, but let me look at the list. Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to pull in one more because I've got two that are, one that's only got like 3 shades, and then the mini Zendo is pretty small. So let's do one more, and then I'll pick my own palette from that. Ooh, Dominique Cosmetics Berries and Cream palette. Okay, that's exciting. All right, let me grab these palettes and the palette that I want to roll in, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back, and I have all my palettes here. I'm going to go in the order that they were randomly chosen for me. So the first one we have is the MAC Feast Your Eyes palette. This was the like fall holiday collection from last year by MAC. And here is what this palette looks like. It's a little grubby, dirty looking. I was working on this shade here, which is, they call this formula the Leather Luster, and I don't like it. Now, I also don't really like this shade of brown. So I think that could have been one of the main reasons. But I am interested in this shade and this shade. So I want to see how these perform. And yeah, I want to see how they perform. So that's what those two look like. And then I'm really interested in these shimmers. So I'm just going to swatch these, and I'm going to use my wipe to put a bit of a wet base and see what these look like. Because these look stunning. Okay, here are the shimmers. And yeah, those look really nice. The green one is a little bit lackluster, to be honest, which I'm a little surprised, but maybe over a glitter glue, it'll be better. But yeah, I want to play around with this palette, because if at the end of the day, if I'm not really happy with it, then I should declutter it. But I want to play around with these other shades. So that's the first palette. The next one we got was by Milani, and it is the Soft and Sultry palette. It's very reflective. And this is a very cool toned palette. It looks really nice. The last Milani palette that I played with was older, and it performed horribly, so I ended up decluttering it. This one I don't think we'll have the same issue with. I think this will perform really nice. I've used one of these palettes in the past and really enjoyed it. And there's what? 1, 2, 3. It looks like there's 4 shimmers in here. It's not a ton. But if the mattes perform well, then it's definitely a keeper. So there's some of the shades in there. So we'll see. We'll see how I feel about it. So there's that one. Okay, the next palette we got was actually a stack of eyeshadows from Melt. And actually I have a sticker on here I'm going to take off. This just told me way back in the day that I'd used it. That was a very old system. Anyway, here is the stack. So it looks like this, and you kind of just, it comes with a mirror. And I don't know if Melt still has these, but there are 4 shadows in here. So here's the first shade. There's the second one. This is the Lovesick stack. There's the third shade, and then the last one is this gorgeous purple. So let me just swatch these. They're still lovely. Oh my God. All right, so there we go. This red is, oh, I don't know how that's going to perform, because it's swatched really, it's not swatching the best. So we'll see. I mean, it's an older palette, so it may just be that it's old, and I mean, there's a better swatch. We'll see. We'll see how it performs. But this peachy shade, it's like a duochrome. Oh, it's stunning. And this purple is so pretty. I mostly bought it for the purple, to be honest. I ain't gonna lie. Okay, the next palette that we randomly got was by Natasha Denona. And this is the Sunrise palette. So here's this one. I did have this one in my Pan in Every Palette project. So I did hit pan in one shade in Poppy. But I haven't used these other shades too much. So we'll see. I'm going to try to use the yellow, like these 2 shades. I'm going to try to use them. I've been trying to expand my horizons a bit when it comes to shadows that scare me, like colors that scare me. We'll see. But this is really beautiful. I mean, those mats are gorgeous. All right, there are just some of the shades there. Look at those bright. I mean, it's pretty. Not a typical color story that I go for but I thought like out of all the fall inspired palettes by Natasha Denona, this one was probably the one that I would like the most. So that's the reason why I purchased this one. So we'll see. Okay, next up we have another Natasha Denona palette, and it's the Mini Zendo palette. I really loved this color story, but I've never played with it. It has two mats. It has this one here and then this one here. So I'll just swatch this little guy. It's really pretty. I don't know if I would use this all on its own, but we'll see. I may use it to like mix with other palettes, but those are really nice shimmers. And the last palette that I drew is by Dominique Cosmetics, and this is the Berries and Cream palette. I think I picked this up in either the BoxyCharm like pop-up or somewhere else. I got it at a pretty decent discount. So here's what this palette looks like. I have not really played with this palette at all, so we'll see. So there's just some of the shades in the palette. It's really nice. Some of these, like this one seems a little patchy, the lilac-y purple shade. We'll see how it actually performs on the eyes. Now for the palette that I have decided to roll in. So I'm going with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Jackie Aina palette. I purchased this because I freaking love the color story, and I like almost missed the palette completely. But I've never played with it, and I really want to get some use on this one. So we're going to try it out in this project. I'm excited. I feel like this is a really beautiful like berry and kind of fallish palette. And knowing how a lot of people have had issues with ABH shadows rusting, I think these are some palettes that I'm going to need to start working on a bit more, like getting use on. All right, there are some of the swatches from the palette. So pretty, but it's definitely a beautiful, like, for me, fall toned palette. Gorgeous. So those are the palettes that are rolling into this project for the month of October. I am super excited. I think we have a good selection, and I think it's probably good that I got some of the like fall toned palettes randomly chosen, because this is the perfect time of year to wear them and play around with them. It's a bit more challenging for me to use those in the spring summer when I want bright looks. But anyway, that is going to be it for this project for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you are doing well and staying safe. Please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. And if you have any experience with these palettes, let me know down below. The next one was the Juvia's Flake. I did it a second time. Juvia's Place. We still have a lot of palettes to go through. Wow. Okay, I'm ready. So I'm going to start with the palettes that are randomly chosen for me, and I'll go in order that we. Okay, bye.